Okay, so Jim really helped me sharpen my iron. And what was also really instrumental about this picture is that it happened at a time when I was now beginning to really find my confidence in speaking. So I began to now sharpen other people's iron. I began to speak at more and more conferences, and I published my book, sharing some of those experiences. But more and more, it was really about what we do with our life's challenges. Because that picture of me with Jim actually was just a few months after I lost my oldest son to cancer. In 2010, just as we were about to celebrate 10 years as a beautiful blended family, we got the news that he had cancer. And he fought diligently a 3-year cancer battle, and we ultimately lost him in 2014. And in that, and all of that stirring, and all of those emotions, and all of the healing that took place, what was birthed out of that was my business ministry. My ministry of helping leaders be more compassionate, of balancing their EQ and their IQ, of understanding how to have a critical eye and a compassionate spirit. Because that's what was missing in the technical world from what I could see and from what research showed. So as I began to sharpen other people's iron, I joined the National Speakers Association, to get more and more confidence in what I was doing, tools, community, and the ability to do this. I mean, we don't just, how many of you like met somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I really love speaking. Well, loving speaking doesn't make you a professional speaker. That makes you the life of the party. It makes you fun, right? Maybe, but that's not enough to have a speaking business. But because I'd had a consulting business for several years at this point now, I'm like, oh, I get business and I get managing engagements. Oh, so speaking is another kind of engagement. Oh, well, yeah. Not only do I want to join, but let me serve, let me help people, especially those with great creative ideas. Let me help them frame those. Let me add value. Let me serve in a way that I can. As I continue to sharpen other people's iron, I always start with the question, is it a project? When we think about if something is a project, the first thing we think about is a house. House is a project, right? How many of you have built a house before and had to deal with builders? Well, I can tell you one fun thing is when you're a project manager, you get to save a lot of money because I'm like, show me your project schedule, show me your Gantt chart, and they get nervous and things happen on time. But we know that this is a project because we know that by its very nature, something new happened. We created something new. Well, according to the Project Management Institute, that is the definition of a project. It is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. A house. And for those of you that are sitting there thinking, okay, that's fine, Alana, we get a house is a project, but how does that work with what I do? I'm not building houses, I'm not making phones, I'm not putting technology together, no. But you are creating an outcome, a new result. And that new result is where we have to ask ourselves the question, how is this a project? And how is it a project? If we want to move our clients from point A to point B, that's a project. Because what we want are new outcomes, and we need to talk to our clients in terms of what are your desired outcomes? How can I help you arrive at those desired outcomes? Because those are also business language terms. What do you want to see at the end of this? What new thing do you want to have happen? If you speak on leadership, how many of you speak on leadership? What's a desired outcome of a leadership program? One of my leadership people.
Better culture.
Better culture. So by the end of this engagement, you want to see your team or your organization have better culture. How do you define better culture?
Positivity, high productivity.
Okay, so attributes. And you see where I'm going with this because better culture, we're here. But let's get that more specific. Let's get that a bit more tangible. Because everybody wants better culture, because what happens is we set ourselves up to fail when we talk to our clients like that, because we can't deliver better culture. We can't. I wish I could. No. But what I can do is we can deliver better measurable behaviors, and we can also look at how we measure this against the past. We can look at what things we've then put in place, what may be new tangible initiatives, what new programs that are going to happen to continue to sustain this. Because like Pam was saying earlier, we're not looking for gigs, we're looking for engagements. We are building businesses. Now, if we want to come in, because sometimes I'm not going to lie, I just want to come in and do it. I almost said hit it and quit it, but I just said it anyway. You know what I mean, right? You want to come in, do what you want to do, and get on out. Feels good. Felt good. Got your speakers high. Yeah. But what are we doing to help them move their needle long term? Because it's the long term that not only is where the money is, but it's also where the impact is. And I don't know about you, but I became a professional speaker to make an impact. And while there's some impact that I can make from the platform, from the stage, and get people motivated and inspired to do new great things, they're probably going to leave and maybe do one new thing. They may be encouraged to do one thing. What do y'all think in the Zoom room? What new things are they going to do after? Candace like, oh, she's calling on us. Yeah. What new things might somebody do after they hear a keynote? Nothing. I don't know if we have audio. Do we have audio? Candace, say hey.
Hey.
Okay, so we do have audio. I'll put it on the spot.
Audio.
Okay.
Anybody from the Zoom room, does anybody want to answer that question? What new thing might someone do after they hear a keynote?
What's that?
Cassie, you broke up a little bit. Can you say that one more time?
I say probably nothing but prepare to hear another keynote.
Prepare to hear another keynote. And I saw a hand right over here. Jeannie, you have the mic. We have a question right over here, or input right here. Oh, I'm sorry, I put her to work. I think she was doing something else. Oh, Candace says, looks like there's a chat in the comments.
What you want is duplication.
What you want is duplication.
You want duplication.
You want duplication. Duplication
That's
of the
the
keynote?
result.
Duplication of the keynote or duplication of...
The keynote, whatever you're motivating a person to do, or developing the business, but the idea was born with you or nurtured by you. That's what it is.
Yeah, so you want someone to either emulate something that you've demonstrated, or what we see a lot is that we've encouraged them to want to learn more, because self-education is still scientifically proven to be the best form of education. So when we're on the platform, we have the ability to encourage people to go deeper, but we also know that if we want people to really go farther, they can't go alone. So while we may encourage and inspire them, we also can position ourselves to go with them. Candace, I think you had something else in the chat?
Yeah, there's one. So asking questions. Keynotes can help us ponder new questions.
Yes.
And that's what Lisa says in the chat. And also do internal audits. So there's probably something that we're learning where we can now audit ourselves and see if we need to build up our skills in an area.
I love that. Yes, keynotes bring introspection. Some of the most valuable movements I think I've made have been a result of seeing an amazing keynote, but they took longer. So when we think about accelerating results for our clients and delivering outcomes, it's remembering that the keynote is the start to it. So we want to take them from point A to B, and even if the keynote is it, and maybe you do multiple keynotes because you have multiple touch points. So I'm not saying that keynotes aren't valuable. No, I love keynoting. I love the value that it brings, especially the multiplicity that a keynote brings, because you have the ability to impact 200, 500, 5,000 people in one sitting. But we know the human brain and the human psyche and adult learning and development in 1 hour is often awareness. So in the DEI space, when a client says, oh, we want you to do a 1 hour training, I have to stop myself from laughing. I can't train anybody to do anything in an hour. Now we can have an hour keynote. We can raise some awareness. but you won't see change behaviors. So it's very important that we help our clients understand that. But so, is it a project? If we all agree that yes, it is a project, we agree it's a project, then that means we need to manage it like a project. That means we want to manage every engagement like a project that starts and finishes. And we define that start and that finish, but we are looking at this as a temporary endeavor to create a unique result. They are going to have something that they didn't have before, and that becomes part of your unique selling proposition. That becomes part of your value add when you are talking to your clients. Do you still want what you have? And they go, no, because they called you because they have pain, right? Well, what is it that you want to have? And that's what we're going to talk about. And that's how I'm going to help guide you through that. But I can't just talk somebody through that. We want to be methodical. So we have to be strategic and adaptable. We have to be forward thinking and a strategic thinking in how we can help move our clients from point A to point B, while also adapting to the market, to the environment, to their internal changes. M&A in the middle of an engagement, anyone? They always think that's a fun, oh yeah, we just bought 3 companies. This is going to be a great opportunity, more opportunities for you. I'm like, no, you just introduced new chaos and you're probably going to lose sight of anything that's going on. And I'm aware, and soon you will be too. My job is always to be aware of things before my clients, because that's why I get to call myself an expert. I used to struggle with that word. I'm like, oh, it feels so vain. But no, I'm an expert. And I know things that my clients don't know. And as far as I'm concerned, it is selfish if I don't tell somebody something that I know that is for their benefit. It is absolutely selfish. I literally have a Post-it note on my computer that reminds me of that. What I do is service to organizations, service to the world, because I don't want people sitting, having worked hard, having gotten their certifications, having done whatever they need to do, and feel devalued. I will never forget the purpose, the passion, and the priorities that drove me to do what I do. We always have to remain connected to our why, and when we do, that makes even some of the challenging clients that don't know that the 3 companies that they just purchased is new chaos, it gives you the ability to still serve them. Because we get to breathe. We get to still serve them. But that's because we are seeing things that they don't. We're digging into research that they're not. We are quoting statistics that they don't have, that they don't know. We're the value add. We are their solution. And we can't be their solution if we're not willing to first and foremost continue to sharpen our own iron, because iron gets dull after a while. To keep sharpening it and then making sure that we're passing that on to our clients. And as we're being strategic and adaptable, there's a framework, and your handouts have that framework, and your handouts also had a little space for your top 4. So if I've said anything that you want to hold on to, we're going to talk about what those top 4 are later. I hope we got the handout to you all in Zoom land. Did we? Awesome. Okay. So capture those top 4, because we're going to debrief on those. But the framework, it starts with a decision. Everything that we do in life starts with a decision. So the framework that I've been using for years is simple. Decide, devise, do, and review. Project management we have different steps and phases, and it can get complicated, but I demystified it years ago and began to use this model that I've trademarked. Make sure you trademark your IP. Oh, heck yeah. Write that down. That better be one of your top 4. Decide, devise, do, and review. It's simpler than what we have in the PMBOK. The PMBOK is great. It's great if we're building a house. It's great if we're doing organizational change of the whole system. But when we are moving a client from point A to point B, one of the things that we talk about in the project management world is always making sure that what we use, the methodologies that we use, are fit for purpose. You don't bring a gun to a knife fight. You don't use a scalpel when you really need an axe, and vice versa, right? You follow me on that? Decide, devise, do, and review. Let's take a look at the model and how we use it. Think of a client that you're working with. Everybody have that client in your head? Are they pretty? Are they handsome? Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Start with decide. Everything starts with a decision. Now, as you're first engaging with a client, now this begins to mingle a bit into your sales process. But what you are doing in sales is you are trying to get a client to make a decision. You're getting them to choose you. Do y'all remember in recess when you're like, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me? I'm good at kicking the ball. Yeah. Well, you're doing a little bit of that, but you're saying, pick me because I've got expertise and I can help you. But more importantly, I have insight into what's happening in your organization, or if you're working with individuals, I have insight into the challenges that you may be having, and I believe that I can be a good fit. And here's the beauty of decide. You get to decide too. You decide if they are a right fit, if you two are a right fit. Because there's nothing like shaking hands with a client that you know is going to do you dirty. If you're having to chase them down to get, feedback on things, ooh, if they're giving you this trouble now, just wait. I call those my PITA clients, and I have a PITA fee. That's P-I-T-A. I'll let you see what that stands for. If I sense that, there are some different adjustments that I want to make. But ultimately, the decision that I may make is that we may not be a good fit. Because ultimately, I'm trying to get them to understand what's their catalyst. Why did they call me? Why are we reaching out? Why are we connecting? What's ailing you? And how long are you going to allow that to ail you? And what is happening as a result of this ailment? Because people can tell you about their symptoms, but they can't necessarily tell you, I have a cold, and by having a cold, that means that I can't go to work. We have to look at the results that they have in their current state. So you want to do a current state analysis. You don't have to get all analytical. I like to, but get a little in their business. And here's the fun thing about the decide part is my clients call it work therapy. They're like, oh, this feels like work therapy. They get to talk about the things that have been bothering them, that have been ailing them. And, this manager over here that he just doesn't know how to talk to people. And by the time we're done with this discovery call, they feel a little better. And they feel a little hopeful, as they should, that you can help. You can't fix everything, but that you can help. And that you can serve them and move them along. It's an amazing feeling for them, and it's an amazing feeling for you. You also want to make sure that you get them crystal clear on their goals, because if they are saying one thing and you're saying another, you guys, you're set up to fail. And they have a different set of expectations than you have. And then that comes back later. So how many of you, even before a keynote, right, you're having the conversation with the client and you're saying, okay, what is it, why do you want a keynote for this spot? Always ask that question. Oh, we want you to give energy to open things up, or we want you to give content. What is it that they want to see? If you're having a conversation about a workshop, one of the things I love to do are workshops because I get to flow and move around the room. What is it that you want? What is it that you want to see as a result of this workshop? What do you want to see within a week after? What do you want to see 30 days after? 60 days after? Let's envision this. And they get to have fun envisioning this perfect team, and then you talk them out of the euphoria. No. But it's going to be better. And sometimes better is just so helpful. So I love the privilege of talking people through better. Get them clear on that, and then find out what their priorities are. Like I said, if there's some new merger coming, let's find out how important is this diversity initiative going to be. Once you start merging with this other company whose culture I can see through LinkedIn, this is not y'all's culture. What's going to happen? If you're doing this digital transformation and now this other company is on something else, what's going to happen? Is that going to take priority? Is this new CEO that you just gotten? Is this still their priority? Are we clear on your priority? So the decide phase is very important that we lock arms in the right unison. This discovery phase, I can't underemphasize how important this is. And when I even do project management workshops, when we initiate a project, which is the project management terminology, that's when projects are set up for success or set up to fail. So in your engagement management, set that engagement up for success by not only asking the right, ask the good, hard questions. Ask the questions that probably make them squirm a little bit. And then get confirmation that you are the right fit. And then, this is where it gets really fun. So we've done our due diligence. We've sent the contract. We said, okay, we have an idea of what we want. We have an initial definition of what we want to do. But now with your permission and with your money, because you don't do a whole lot of analysis unless they've got some skin in the game. Don't go giving a bunch of outlines and content and all these other things to window lookers, because they'll take your stuff, they'll use it internally, or it'll just sit on a desk, but you've wasted your time. So consider the opportunity cost of doing too much before you have a contract. So you get that contract, and now you want to help them move further. So I love to use a SWOT analysis. And where are my fellow geeks in the room? Because I know I was in good company early. We were talking about some geeks. Y'all know good SWOT analysis, right? But here's the thing for my non-geeks. One of the reasons that I've adopted this, I told you good things come in fours. It's nice and easy. SWOT. 4 letters. You ask yourself, what are the strengths that I could provide to this organization? What are the weaknesses that I may have with this? What are the opportunities that I see that may come either in the market, and what might be the threats? That becomes my initial risk assessment. And I want to use this because, and again, I'm using this as part of the side. I'm using this to help confirm how much I need to include in this statement of work and what I want to do going into the keynote and beyond the keynote as I insist on being my client solutions. So understanding this early on, helping to validate the goals, because they already said, yes, this is what we want to do. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? I really want to keep asking. It helps support decisions. I use a SWOT analysis when I'm booking a flight. Please make sure you do that. That's how I even change some of my flights. I use a SWOT analysis when I want to buy a car, when I want to buy a phone, when I want to buy even those little gadgets that plug up and make your phone charge up. I do a quick SWOT analysis, just in my head, okay? Sometimes I pull out a piece of paper because I'm visual. But it helps you to identify risks. And the more we can understand the risks that may be involved, the more we can proactively manage those risks. One of the most important core competencies of a project manager, and I'm not making you all certified by the end of this, but I want you to have some project management fundamentals, and the first one of those is to evaluate, assess, and manage risk. That is what your clients are looking for. They're not going to do it for you. So you have to do that.